This is topical issue once more, and the topic for today is this man called Che. When enlightenment comes, it presents itself in different forms. Che is an exclamation or an attention drawing word like hey. This can equal to the Ma language or the Maasai of East African country of Kenya and Tanzania. The Ma community are people who embrace their culture and independent in all their undertakings. Their equal word for Che in Ma language is Ero. So if I were to go by Ma language, this man called Che, it will be this man called Ero. This exclamation bears a strong spirit of realization of other human suffering and reawakening to make a change. I unveil to you such an individual in the name of Ernesto Che Guevara, born in South American beautiful country of Argentina, land of the famous football player Diego Maradona, land of the gauchos, or South American cowboys as they are called, land of the matadors. Matadors are bullfighters. He was born in 1928 in a rich family. He studied at Buenos Aires, that is the capital city, university. He was a physician, an author, a guerrilla leader, a diplomat, and a military strategist, all rolled in one in his lifetime. In his travels in the Latin American countries, which were still colonized by then, most of them, he encountered poverty. He had been born in a rich family, so he didn't know poverty when he was young. But during his travels, he encountered poverty of magnitudes that he could not imagine. This stirred that feeling of making a change in human life. He decided to abandon the wealth of the families that he was coming from, the wealth that his profession, because a physician at that time was a valued man in any country. He would have made a very comfortable lifestyle, which he did at some time through the revolution, but he moved from his country and went to a country called Cuba. They were able to cause an uprising and overthrew the one who was in charge at that time. And Fidel Castro, who was his friend, became the leader of that country, the country of Cuba. I think there's nobody in the world who does not resonate with the name Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro was a man who was fiercely independent, could not allow oppression from any other country, could not allow internal interference from any other country. And people saw that during the Cuban nuclear missile crisis. The world almost went to a third world war. But it was because of Cuba's insistence on keeping its freedom and independence. These are results of Che Guevara, who, when they had taken independence in Cuba, he was given big posts in the Cuban government. But his yearning for human freedom, independence, and non-interference sent him in guerrilla movement leadership. He was in Africa, leading independence and guerrilla movement. He eventually died in Bolivia fighting when he was captured by CIA officers, but before they could take him to wherever he could be taken, Bolivian soldiers shot him dead. He died a hero fighting for freedom for other people. He had left all big positions in Cuba. He left a rich family. He's not a man who grew up in poverty. You know, there are times when we talk of this man was trying to rise from poverty. This was a man who knew it all, who knew the good things in life. But he devoted himself to fight for freedom of fellow human beings, for non-interference from any outside countries, so that countries could make their own decisions. He embodied real freedom, real independence. Being independent as a country can be without interference from outside. So when we look at him, I've seen countries around the world that have stood jealous, guarding their independence and non-interference. Kudos to many of those countries in the north, in the south, in the west, and in the east. The leaders who have stood independently and stood their grounds against non-interference. They have stood their grounds against manipulation. And yes, I wish I could. Let me just name a few. I'll talk of a guy that there are some guys that people like to malign and call despots. They are not despots. I would like to have a person like Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Those who know the history of Rwanda, from genocide to what it is, will salute that man. I would like to touch somebody people call a despot, but he isn't. Museveni. When he was fighting for the liberation, Uganda is our neighboring country. Those who were there at that time know it. Yes. There are people who have stood jealously guarding their freedom. They have had their changes in their countries, great changes. And there are others in Africa. I'm not only talking of those. There are others in Africa. There are others who even lost their lives jealously guarding the freedom of their countries. There are others around the world. There are people who have stood firm against non-interference, against manipulation of any form. And yes, that is the spirit that the man Che, or if we were to say in the Ma language, the man Ero, stood for. I would like to call upon people from every country to embody this spirit of originality, non-interference from other places, make your own decisions as countries, and non-interference even in other fields. There are many, many other fields. But embrace the highest ideals that will make your countries prosper. Each country grows out of its own belief in God and effort they put in. Countries like South Korea have made great strides. You're talking of places like Dubai, and there are many other places that have moved. So this is an encouragement to people around the world that there is nothing impossible if you have faith. I'm calling upon faith. Faith in religion, faith in yourselves. Yes, be the gauchos, the cowboys in your country. Be the matadors or the bullfighters for independence and freedom. I beg to terminate this one here. That's my take for today. But think about it. A man like Che, from riches, dying fighting to liberate people from poverty. Does it strike a bell in your mind that God created us independently and collectively to strive towards ideals in human freedom, human independence, yes, and non-interference? That is my take for today.